the way we look at it is all our games for me kind of follow each other's. For me, Endless Space 2 was not a follow-up of Endless Space 1, but was actually the follow-up of Endless Space 1 and Endless Legend. So many features in the game should be actually a bit of both, basically, or taking the best of the two of them. I really loved actually what we did with the tech tree on Endless Legend, actually. So I love that, and basically that's what basically we based the design of the tech tree on Endless Legend, and actually our players hated it. And actually, not only they hated it, but I have to admit, it was not very good looking, and it was really looked old, and so it was painful because we spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
And it was also a whole game mechanic also working with it. But really all our players like playing Endless Space 2, working out on. You had an amazing tech tree in Endless Space 1. It's a huge wheel if you remember. And I felt very free in it. All these possibilities. So basically we had basically to just shut it down and throw everything away, more or less everything away. And
So, Endless Legend had the kind of eras. It kind of delineated the technological progress into eras, if I remember rightly. So, was that?
Yes. So we still have a bit of that, but
Okay.
actually it's changing. Just to show you.
Yeah, sure. And we'll get into it, I'm sure.
Well, voila. So I can show you the tech tree at the same time.
Yeah.
So no. So basically, so now we have quadrants. Basically, we have 4 quadrants, and each one of them are like split by more or less levels. So you still don't have the sound from the game, right? So it's.
I don't have sound for the game, but.
Did you see this intro videos from the Respawns?
I haven't seen this yet. No.
I'll show you that after. Anyway, for the tech tree right now, just to show you the tech tree.
Yeah, sure.
So that's the new tech tree, basically.
Okay.
So you see, it much more like in the spirit of the first one, of the first Endless Space. But if you remember Endless Legend, it's just eras, as you said, that just follow each other in small circles, and you unlock new eras. And it's true, like sometimes when you are at era 4, you may forget that you unlocked some technology from era 2 that you never researched. Here, as it's more like in a tree form, it's easier to know where you stand, and basically, but and it's very kind of modern looking. It's more like like sci-fi, when actually our earlier version, like the one we thought would be the final one, actually was much more a bit older looking, not as modern in many aspects of its design. But anyway, so we're all happy with that. But that's I think one of the strongest example. We did a lot of improvement on the battles. Basically, a lot of players want to see tactical battles in the game, which we're not doing. We want our battles to be like a spectacle and to show something like you live, like you're in a space opera, and and you are the emperor of that space opera. And being that emperor, sometimes you will have to lead your troops in battles, but you will not be the general there. You will prepare everything for your troops to fight in the best fashion. But more or less, what you leave is an experience, basically following all your choices, and there we added a lot of details so you can really analyze and better understand and follow the battles.
Yeah, that's interesting because in 4X games, you are kind of the grand ruler of a faction, but then often you find that you are also like the planetary bureaucrats and also the general, like you say, and all of these other roles that sort of which are fine and work in other games just fine, but aren't always conducive to the sort of grand picture, I guess, if you like, the kind of.
Well, for me, what's important is you have to know in your game if you want to spend like 80% of your time managing your empire or fighting battles, basically. And actually, the two games are great, but they're not the same game. And I think it's good to be able to choose basically which game you want to make, basically. And for us, it's a 4X game. It's about
Mm.
building an empire, and the battles are a wonderful part of that story. But it's not the only part of the biggest part of it. Some people should be able to play a pacifist and more or less never fight, and it should be great and fun.
Right, right.
So anyway, you know what? I will. So if you did you play any of the other access of Endless Space? Two.
No, no, I haven't. I haven't got the early access version
Okay.
or
So
anything like that. So
so so
this is all fresh.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm happy we didn't spoil you too much. Okay, so basically, there's quite a few things with the game that is very important to us, especially being an evolution from Endless Space 1. It's maybe because I have the music of the game at the same time, so it feels like a real space opera speaking to you. But anyway,
It's more
one of
more
the biggest
drama.
things is yes, exactly, a very dramatic moment. So one of the important thing is the population. Um,
Mm.
for us, when we play for X games, too often we tend to see population as being just a bunch of numbers, basically. Just numbers that make them do things, and they have no feelings really.
Mm.
Or are actually whether you lose or gain population, it's just you again gaining numbers, but it's rare that you lose or gain any other things that your natural way of growing your population. For us, population should be key. It should be all about building an empire with one or many different populations and making them work together and evolving them, knowing when you have to sacrifice some of them in wars, and
Mm.
and knowing that long wars will take a big toll on your populations. So population should be the most important thing, and with that, actually, population will have feelings. Basically, they will react to their surroundings,
Okay.
and they will do that through politics and the Senate that you have. So when you go in the game, when you start the game, actually,
Yeah.
in that case, with the rich warrants, I already have a Senate, which is mostly industrialists and ecologists. And actually, I even have, one of my heroes from the beginning of the game, who's the leader of the industrialist faction in the game.
Right.
So with that, what does that mean? Well, simply that right now, at the beginning of the game, I can pass, a few basic laws, or actually a few very specific laws that are really tailored, or actually being asked by the political parties that you have here present in your
Okay.
Senate. So, for example, at the colonization age, beginning of the game, more or less, it's very interesting to pick, that asset, and and really focus on that. By having these guys, um, basically, I will have but a lot of industry that will be converted into just, so it's always very interesting because everything has build creates money for me that we can use in other ways. So that's only the industrialist party that can have that. Every 20 turns, we'll have elections, and basically your population will evolve over time, and
Mm.
depending on what's happening, the invasion close to them, will make them frightened. If you're like building, I don't know, a lot of financial buildings, it may actually push them towards commerce and want even more commerce.
Mm.
So then they require maybe to have the trading party leading the game, and then of course events that you will have, to events and quests, that you will have to take sides, and also that will also influence your population.
And if you absorb sort of minor factions, do they also appear as population with their own interests and
They totally. So basically, if you look back on that
mm.
menu here, here you will see that you have different type of populations in your empire, and they
Okay.
all have their own feeling and react differently to their surroundings. For example, if you look at the Riftborns, whenever there is like a scientific event, they will actually create support for both a bit of support of science and a bit of support for industry. When there is a normal industrial event, they will actually give strong support to industry. So they are really really reactive to industry. That's the reform. When the epistes actually, when there is industrial event happening, they will react pretty well. But with the ecologist versions, actually they don't like industry. And when there is industry happening, they will want to go more for ecology.
They're it's funny shifting to environmental policies. Yeah.
So they will often, these two ones are very interesting because they will often oppose each other's, and that's how you start as the Riftborn. I will show you maybe a bit more. No, maybe before to show you a bit more advanced games, I will show you some other stuff. So that's basically one of the core elements of the game that we're working on.
Mm-hmm.
So we really want that to be very important. Sometimes you may have to trick your population to elect a new party to power because you want maybe have better industry, or maybe you want to have a better army and you will want the militarist faction to choose. Actually, you will even be able to cheat some of the elections sometimes, but and of course, the more you're in democracy, and the better it is to cheat. But at the same time, when you will be in a form of autocracy, you will be able to choose, your party. That will not necessarily please your population, but at least you can do it. So it's very interesting to know sometimes how to take these kind of decisions. Of course, when you play space game, and that's one of the other things which is important, you need to have this sense of wonder when you discover the world. So for us, the whole endless universe is always a universe you should that should make you dream when you look at it, when you read what's happening in there, when you see actually the planets that you will see. So I don't know. I'm just trying to explore blindly, but we'll see if we find anything. So we didn't find anything yet, but I'm sure I will create a few buildings here, and for later, I'll have a lot of industry on it, and I will put some of my population on the planet to produce better. Hero.
Always good.
I will put it as governor. I could put it as admiral fleet, but right now I think I'd rather see him better govern that territory, so I have better industry. And
so actually, the not knowing what's at the end of the space lanes that's new as well, right?
Except for the Sophons actually always know what they have at the end of the way. And that's actually leading to another one of our very important pillars for the game is every single population, should be extremely different from the others, and we call that like asymmetrical gameplay. Like the cravers can't go to peace. They always more or less at war with everyone. We have actually the Riftborns. Actually, what's pretty cool with them is actually they can control time. They come from another dimension, just dying. It's been corrupted dust from our dimension. It's kind of created a link between the two dimensions, and actually that link is killing their dimension. So these guys actually, when they come to us, they discover the idea of time. It's an idea that actually they can manipulate from where they come from. So it's also a pretty interesting gameplay to be able to freeze, fast forward, even go backwards. After battles. If you didn't like the result of the battle, could reset it.
How have you changed some of these? I know some of the endless space factions are coming back. The Cravers and Horatio, I think, are there as well.
Yep.
How have you changed them to have more kind of a unique dimension to them?
We had to readapt. I mean, the spirit of all our previous factions is still the same. So we kept 4 factions from Endless Space 1 and wanted to add 4 new ones. I mean, it was kind of, it felt fresh for us to be able to look at something new. But we knew that our players wanted to also still have some of the classics back. Mm-hmm. So we have the United Empire, the Sophons, We have Horatio, which is back, and which is the last one, which is back. Crevers, of
Cravers,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, Crevers are back. They were like much asked for. So
That's because
so the
they're
Crevers, like,
jerks.
yes, yeah, it feels good to play a jerk every once in a while, you know. It's what
That's
because we have new. What?
it.
Sorry.
It's true, but it's never good when they're next door to you in the galaxy, though.
It's true. That's why it's better to play them than to be against them, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love that. So at least there's no excuse, especially on multiplayer, not to play basically nice. So I'm so sorry. I can't make peace with you. I would love to make peace, but I can't.
It's just not
But
in my
don't
nature.
worry, I will not attack you.
Yeah.
So, um, so here, for example, I don't know what was speaking. I was still pressing, all these little buttons. Here I'm at like actually manufacturing actually Caligaros. It's a new people actually, and as the game evolve, if I have the right technology, I'll be able to discuss with them and be able like to be nice to them, and maybe they will want to join me.
Cool.
But in the meantime, actually, they will spawn pirates that will attack me, and or anyone else is actually something could be useful to have them close to you. But being friends with them, they can help you and be nice, and give you resources, and ultimately give you population. And again, giving you population, it's what you're looking for, what you need. They also tend to be on pretty nice planets as well, so it's also a planet that you can use for yourself. Some people just, like the Crevers, anyway, they will just go and bomb the planet. And to come back to your question, actually, one of the new stuff that we do with the Crevers is the slave drivers. Is what slavery is something that the Crevers do. They basically enslave people and to use them as basically a source of cheap labor and food. So that's who they are.
You've made them even more nasty than before.
That's enough, so that's who the Crevers really are. So yeah, and basically we added some competition in nastiness. We have
Right.
the Modiani. Modiani are pretty cool vampires actually. So they love to sustain on life as well, but it's just half of the pleasure, half because they really have to. And at the same time, they can eradicate like any form of life from the galaxy. They want to destroy life in the galaxy, but to keep safe nature, basically trees and plants. They don't
Okay.
mind.
Okay.
So that's our vampires. It's a more advanced game with like
Sure.
this guys, the Riftborns. As I told you, the Riftborns can manipulate time. And to give you a few little examples, here, we have so this one, it's like to slow down actually like the production of something somewhere they can see. So I need to have vision on it. So sadly, I don't have vision, but I just finish it. I can pose something, if, for example, like I had an enemy coming here, I could just freeze it here.
Okay.
Or actually,
Okay.
it could be also the production of someone else's. But I could also, boost, kind of and fast forward, the production of my system. And for example, make sure like next turn I have something which is finished as well.
Can you use that as part of a sort of ambush tactic then, and freeze the fleets? Because presumably they're going to be quite easy pickings if all of their if all of their ships are frozen.
That's the point. Yeah, exactly. You can basically most of them, or many of them, could be used both ways, basically, and to try to do pretty cool tactics, or either to save yourself, to save the others. For example, I see that my fleet will be destroyed. I could maybe just do a freeze on this one, so the fight doesn't occur yet, and basically I can send reinforcements. That's kind of things you can do, basically. So anything you can think of, basically, when you need to use time, they can do. All you need to do is basically. You need to build them first, in your systems, and then then you can place them in the universe. Just a quick overview of some of our heroes. I will just pass the turn, and then we have like a fleet from our enemies. So one of the last pillars that we have in the game is actually the fact that you can always scan the game wherever you are, and it gives you like I press space basically. It gives you another simplified view of the game with more information. For example, here I can see I am at war with these my neighbors, and in red I see all the enemy places. And if I zoom down, actually, I can even see the economy of my systems, of systems I know. For example, here I will know that I am pretty good in industry and science and a bit of dust, when these ones are really bad in industry. So
Cool.
always very important to do that. And actually, if you want to have more information, you can also see how your systems compare, with one another, basically, but also with the rest of the galaxy. So it's pretty cool. So to be able to have all these stats without cluttering, the rest of the game.
Mm.
But what I can do as well, is maybe go on my system, and here I can even have more information by scanning to know which planet is good for what, basically. So here I know I have a great planet for like industry. That's very obvious when I do that. I don't have to try to calculate everything. Just I go there, just say amazing.
Yep.
So it's good for food. So later on, when I will be able to colonize this one, I can do it, and I will have a pretty good planet to increase food. Except that the Riftborn, being different as well from anyone else's and going from another dimension, they need to build their population. Okay, so let's actually try to attack, these guys basically that are pretty mean to us. Maybe I can check my ships first. So that's basically one of my, like biggest ship that I have.
Okay.
So basically you can rearrange, everything on it if you don't like it. And I could try this one as well. We have here. Okay, so this one is kind of a support ship. Okay, I have everything I want. Now I will attack. I can go looking at the fleets are pretty well balanced. I can set up my strategy here. So here, I have strategies available to me.
Okay.
I can at any time, if I want, actually change the set of strategies I have. They're all here. And if I want, for example, to go more aggressive, I could do this. So I can do that while I have a battle going. But basically, you choose your set of strategies, and then in battles you have to you will be able to use.
Are these strategies that you can acquire over time? I mean, can you research more of those or get them through quests and exploration and?
Yes, just yes. Yeah, that's the idea. Basically, you have a few of them at the beginning, and indeed, over time, over quest and over exploration, new ones will appear. So we wanted to link that to some heroes as well. This stuff that probably will come later. Again, for us, when the game come out, it's just the very beginning, and it's just the beginning of its life, and it's kind of stuff that we definitely would love to do is to be able to link it more to your heroes as well. So here, what you have in the battles, you have like different flotillas. The more ships you have, the biggest fleet you have, the more flotillas you have available to you. And when you have more flotillas than your adversary, you have a bonus per extra flotillas that you have. So you always have try to be better than him in flotillas, or you can try to do something else, which is something pretty odd. And what, I will just go for like 2 flotillas. And actually, so I will have a malus at the beginning on my 2 flotillas, but maybe I will be able to destroy these 2 flotillas of his, and then be 2 against 1 for the final one. But so I will not do that.
Go for a 3-pronged attack. That's
balanced. You always have some form like of kind of analysis where you can be pretty good at. Look at your range. When you like what. Pretty much like this one, it's pincer attack. It's pretty good. So I will try to see, what happens in a battle. Again, with some more fascinating. So when you get the game, but also what you can do if you want is basically try to look at a more tactical level, try to see what's happening. From the battle. Here I have like my main capital ship actually, and actually I have a pretty small flotilla there. Although my enemies here, they tried actually to attack on the back actually, but we destroy them. So that's pretty good. My pincer is working. Well, here actually it's only on one side. So actually we'll finish with our 2 main fleets on this fleet. So I think they will get away. Although I will do a lot of damage. So at any time when you look at the game, you can just scan as well. I just received a message. We're good in 10 minutes.
So
From
is there any way you can kind of further influence this battle once it's kicked off, or is
once it
it
started,
it's out of your
no,
hands once you've
it's out of your hands. What you can basically all decisions you took were before. And now it's just a big show. Basically. And you just have to enjoy your decision.
Sure.
Uh, but what you can do is try to, if you don't understand, if you not understand what happened during the battle, you can always try to go on the analysis screen, try to better understand, what worked well and what you should maybe improve for the next time. Maybe which designs didn't work so well. Maybe which distances were you too weak. For example, like they were extremely good at short range. So maybe something I should better protect myself with, like better plating. So it's more like on this kind of thinking, and if you're not sure what really happened, you can always go back and rewatch the battle and so play again.
So it's more that the battle is kind of it's won in the preparation, really, rather
It's
than
it's all about the preparation.
yeah.
That's basically what I don't why it's not working in there, but so it's all about preparing and analyzing what's happening, and improving over time and trying to surprise your enemy with new tactics, new ship designs. Um, yeah, that's basically like better technology, of course.
Yeah.
That's what you do. If you win like a battle, then of course you can try to invade, planets, and the invasion, it's where your population and your crew basically on your ships will be very important. When
Okay.
you load ships with more or less population, and basically they will be able to fight for you on the ground, and that's what you see here. That's your manpower. That's basically the soldiers you have in your empire, and that could like drop very quickly, as the war, like occurs, and you need to find ways to get new troops fast in and basically transform your population in these troops, and building ships will like swallow your army. Losing battles also, it's all about what happened to your population basically, and that's the same with the ground battles. Ground battles basically, actually, we added like a choice like where you can, if you want, surrender, because it's maybe a better idea to say, what, I'll come back.
We're gonna have a little look at the Unfallen. I mean, they were the sort of community faction, or
Yeah,
co-designed
yeah.
with the community. I believe they're sort of tree-based entities who.
Please. So basically, we always said, to everyone that we would never have, plants in space or monsters in space, and I think that's why I think our community were craving for that. So
like, right, this is definitely what we're.
so that was surprising to us at first, that they went for that, because we thought, they were more, they would go more into stuff that we usually do. But no, it's obvious, they wanted to complete the universe with something different. Um, so this tree is basically what they do. So you saw the leader there.
Mm.
It's some of the heroes fight. Uh,
Looking very majestic.
it's not a tree guy, but it's
No.
another hero. That maybe you recognize from in the Space One.
Yeah.
So basically, these guys, they are two main things. Is first of all, they are more or less pacifist, and they really benefit from being at peace with everyone. Doing war is a good thing for them. They cannot expand like anyone else's. They have to have kind of vines.
I mean, you were talking about the vine. They have this kind of
Yeah,
vine-like structure that links, rather than
expand their vines to be
yeah.
able to colonize new systems. And when they do, you can actually colonize the system, and then your ships will move much faster following the vines, and actually you will slow down your enemies, or anyone who's not your friend. Basically, that's one of the main things with them. They can make a very coherent, very defensive world, which is very good, like for peaceful people. And at the same time, they what they do as well is they reveal the guardians, in the galaxy, and many of actually of the systems guardians, actually happy guardians. Actually, there are kind of old spirits, basically like kind of the spirits of the planets, and they are great to defend the planets, and at the same time, they can also help you better, make use of the planet's economy, basically. So they're extremely powerful units, and you definitely want to collect them. But once they're revealed, they can be used by anyone else's. They can also be used, by your enemies. So, but they will help you defend.